In June 2026, Apple did something unprecedented in its history. Without launching a single new product, they raised prices for MacBooks and iPads by up to 50%. Big Tech is betting nearly every dollar it generates on one single assumption: that global demand for AI compute will grow forever. For an investment of this size to make sense, it has to follow basic corporate math. If you spend billions on a factory, those machines need to generate enough revenue to eventually pay for themselves. To justify their infrastructure spending, the AI industry needs $650 billion in revenue every single year. In reality, all major models combined currently earn just $75 billion, leaving a $600 billion deficit with no clear way to fill it. Tech giants expected corporate clients to bridge that gap, but the data suggests otherwise. Most enterprise AI deployments are failing to show any measurable return on investment, leading companies to rethink their budgets. Startups are already abandoning the most expensive models to survive. One firm recently switched its entire infrastructure to a cheaper third-party provider, cutting its costs by 90% in a single month. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, recently confirmed this rejection. He noted that enterprises are realizing they are paying for tokens that create no value, arguing that the capabilities of these expensive models have been irresponsibly oversold. The financial engine of the AI boom is stalling because the customers meant to pay for it are actively looking for the exit. This pattern follows the capital cycle, a four-stage economic framework that defines every industrial bubble. It begins when high returns attract a flood of capital, which leads to a race to build overcapacity. That overcapacity eventually triggers a collapse, leaving only a few survivors to pick up the pieces. AI is currently locked in step 2. Intoxicating early growth sparked a panic among tech giants, who are now building data centers as fast as possible to avoid being left behind. We saw this exact dynamic play out in 1996. After the Telecommunications Act passed, investors became convinced that internet traffic would double every 3 months, and money poured into the sector to build for that future. Telecom companies spent $500 billion burying millions of miles of fiber optic cables across America, certain that demand would be infinite. Internet traffic grew by 100% a year, a massive success, but far below the 1,000% investors predicted. By the early 2000s, 97% of that installed fiber sat unused underground. The resulting collapse wiped out $2 trillion in market value. Giants like WorldCom fell into bankruptcy after attempting to hide billions in expenses to maintain the illusion of profit. Even when a technology is legitimate, building physical infrastructure faster than society can adopt it creates a massive financial deficit that eventually forces a market correction. Today's giants, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, are profitable monopolies with deep cash reserves, unlike the debt-heavy startups of 1999. They are positioned to survive a downturn, but they still have to address the deficit. In the first scenario, the bubble pops. Big tech suddenly stops spending on data centers, causing the stock market to reel and immediately threatening service sector jobs that rely on that capital flow. In the second scenario, these companies force profitability. To cover the cost of their infrastructure, they will have to drastically raise the price of AI tokens. This would end the era of cheap, ubiquitous AI experiments. Intelligent software would become an exclusive luxury, accessible only to the few corporations wealthy enough to pay the new rates. Whether through a market crash or a price hike, the hidden subsidies behind current AI tools are disappearing. The bill for these trillion-dollar data centers is finally coming due. However, the capital cycle ends with step 4, the survivors who inherit the wreckage. After the 2000 crash, those millions of miles of unused fiber optic cables remained in the ground. They were eventually bought for pennies on the dollar by the companies that outlasted the collapse. This overbuilt network became the high-speed backbone for YouTube and Netflix. The original investors lost everything, but their waste provided the infrastructure for the modern mobile internet. If the AI bubble bursts, these $25 billion data centers will still exist. They will likely become the hyper-cheap foundation for a new generation of technology that we cannot yet comprehend.